And welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about how you can use signals and slots again, but I'm going to use just a regular ordinary function. Now, in the signals and slots documentation on the Witty website, I had just come across this. It says that in general, connection tracking does not work for the Witty signal connections and using a function argument as part of the method. The only exception is when the function pointer object was created by boost bind, in which case the receiver object will be tracked. So in my example of what I'm about to type up in Komodo Edit, this function, even though it has arguments from the Witty library and these inherit from Witty object, because we're not using boost bind, which I probably could do that in the example, I might do that, but because I'm not using boost bind when using this function, it will not be tracked. So let's go ahead and just look at a quick example of how you can just use a regular function using these signals and slot system. So I'm going to create a new project, and actually I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to right click, because you can do this in Komodo Edit. Right click, new folder. I'm going to call this quit. And basically you'll see all this is doing is, when I say quit, it's not actually quitting the application, but it's quitting a session. Let's see, we're going to do, alright, now we can do a new project. Just wanted to do it that way. Go to projects, signals and slots 2. Well, I did that back. Quit. And then I'm going to call this quit. Alright, add the extension. Alright, there we go. I'm going to add a new Witty project. Going to open our source file. Alright. Now basically what I'm going to do, so I'm going to create a new void function called quit, and it's going to take a mouse event. And then at the bottom, and that's the prototype for the function, and then here's the implementation. Quit const. And basically all this is doing is we're getting access to the shared instance. The Witty application has a shared instance that can be accessed from anywhere in your application. It's basically a global variable. So when we quit this instance, this isn't really quitting the entire Witty app, though you can do that, and I'll probably show you how to do that another way, using a header and a source file to actually quit your running application. This is one that is being shared across all instances of the Witty application. Once you click on or invoke this, call this slot, all it is going to do is destroy the current session. But if you do a refresh of the page, the session gets recreated again, and I'll show you what I mean. So once we have this function, and as you can see, it's a regular function. Yes, it takes, signals that are in this case, an event signal that inherits from the Witty object. It's not going to be tracked unless we wrapped it in boost bind, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So as you can see, we have our application. I'm going to create a button. Going to call this button. So we have a Witty push button. I'm going to add it to our widget hierarchy as part of our root widget. And then now we're going to implement and connect our signal and our slot. And in this case, we're not using a member function or a member method. We're going to just use a function. So as you can see, this will not be tracked because it's not being wrapped with boost bind. But if we were to do that, it would be tracked. So let's see if we can go ahead and run this. Let's see, let's run CMake. Then let's see if we can build this. And while that is doing that, see if I open up another project while I'm doing that. And let me double check here. Make sure I didn't do anything wrong. I would use, oh, I already know. I'm glad I make mistakes. Keeps me sharp. Let's try this again. Push button. And they should get it. As you can see, it's taking a while for it to compile. Alright, there's our executable. Let's see if we can start the Witty server. Okay, our server is up and running. Then let me bring this over. Let's open up a new window. And there's localhost. And as you can see, there's our quit button. Now let me show you. See if we can get this to go on here side by side. And just watch what happens here when I click on quit. Look at it right here. The session is gone. Basically, that destroys the current session. The application, you could go ahead and just restart if you do a refresh. And somewhere in here, you should see, there it is. Session is equal to 1. So now we have a fresh session. So this really doesn't quit the application, but if you click on it, application is done. Your session is destroyed. If you just do a refresh, it's back up and running. Let's quit this. No, it's really been destroyed. I want to see what happens. If you want to actually have this be tracked, I'm assuming you would do this. There's no guarantee though. Let's see. Haven't tried this. This is just off the fly. No, I didn't think that would work. But yeah, as you can see, if you want to actually do this just with a regular function, I'm assuming you probably might need some more arguments. That is how you would do that. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.